you are a community staple, a community gem.
As you think about the menu and developing it, how often are you guys tweaking and playing with dishes and things like that?
All the time. Mm-hmm. Literally all the time. It doesn't matter what they eat or drink. Essentially, it's how they feel.
Yeah. I love the pizza crust. Beautiful. And it's a super nice pairing with the Seven Oaks.
It's what makes this
Cheers.
We actually even have our own version of Cliff who comes in and sits at the bar sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
So then how do you build that? Is it a blueprint? What do you normally do if someone wants to build Cheers today?
Well,
welcome to the Share The Lohr Podcast by J. Lohr Vineyards and Wines, where we take you behind the scenes over a glass of wine. Let's uncork and dive in. So welcome to the Share The Lohr Podcast. Clearly, if you want to figure out how to build a San Jose icon, a neighborhood icon, a local Cheers, and how to just build that community, this is everything we're covering in this episode. We're in the future now. We had some fun. Again, my name is Josh Baldovino. I'm the marketing manager here at J. Lohr, joined by Cynthia Lohr, who's our chief brand officer, and we're here with the Tomato Thyme team. And so we have Holly Smith. She's the co-owner of the business, and we have Todd Haney, who is the general manager. Delicious food, great pairings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with cheers.
Okay.
Right here. Start off correctly. Cheers.
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 Reached all the way across. Yeah, but this is 2023 J. Lohr Estates Riverstone Chardonnay.
One of our favorites and the first to be certified California sustainable in our efforts. So.
All right, Cynthia, random question for you before we jump into their story. I want to know if you are, maybe not necessarily their menu, but just in general, your normal pairings for Chardonnay, where are you going with it?
Ooh, I am having a love affair with fish right now.
Okay.
So fish dishes with a cream sauce or citrus or anything that is ceviche-like. That's my perfect pairing for Chardonnay right now.
Do either of you have any favorite pairings of Chardonnay at all, or favorite moments to enjoy Chardonnay?
On a hot day on my porch.
Oh,
just don't even need food.
Okay.
Perfect.
Just a lovely glass of the J. Lohr Chardonnay.
It's always nice to start. I usually start with a white and then I go to a red, depending on what I'm having. But this is I think cheese and fresh fruit.
Yeah, this lives in my cooler for when it's in the summer for pool days. I have to have it on ice because that's actually my wife's favorite wine.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, next time I see Hannah. Okay.
We keep it stocked. Don't worry, Cynthia. I think we have a good supply of it. Okay, but Holly, I want to know, thank you again for having us. Tell me the origin story of Tomato Thyme, how you got into the business and all of that.
The origin story of Tomato Thyme it started from a company that we had, Stuffed Pizza. It was part of a franchise. My husband started in 1980. I came along in 1990. When we got out of that franchise, we wanted to have a sit-down restaurant. I like to be waited on. And so we wanted basically a sit-down full-service restaurant. And even though our origins are pizza, we felt like it would pigeonhole us and narrow our focus. So we didn't want pizza in the name. So there was a lot of names that went back and forth. We had some expert, gave us 1,400 names, and they all just started scrambling your head. So we finally decided on Tomato Thyme because thyme felt like it was a fresh, they really make their sauces from scratch. And then tomato kind of lended to the pizza element. Yeah.
Was there a dish that you initially wanted to base the restaurant off of or anything like that? What was the inspiration for the food?
Well, from pizza and pasta.
Okay.
And when I was a young mom, I pretty much could only cook pasta.
I understand that right now.
So I was really, I could make any kind of pasta. And that was really inspiration. It was just like a pizza. It's a blank canvas and you can just have so much fun with it. So you can have it vegetarian, light, heavy, all the things. So that was really our inspiration as part of that.
I love it. Hometown favorite now. Obviously, there are a few different pillars of South Bay, San Jose, and it seems like you guys have definitely made an impact. And then Todd, how about you? What was your transition into the business?
I started working for Stuffed Pizza, one of the franchises in Morgan Hill, when I was a senior in high school. And then I moved up to San Jose to go to school at San Jose City and eventually San Jose State. And I started working for John. So I've known the family since, I think, 1988, and worked my way up through the restaurant to general manager and always kept in touch.
What was the first job in the restaurant?
Oh, goodness. When I started, I was probably making dough and washing dishes and, making the sauce and doing all the prep work in the back room, and then taking orders and then learning to roll out and make pizzas.
I love it. So chances are that I visited a stuffed pizza when I was in high school growing up, not 15 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the fact that you are a community staple, a community gem, which is why this time together is so perfect. This tomato time together is so perfect, because it's family restaurants like yours that, as I mentioned earlier, my family and I would visit on a Sunday night after picking my father up from the office, because he was always working Sundays because of the two businesses, developing our winery and then also his building and development business. So this would have become a treasured restaurant for us growing up, as I know it's becoming now for members of our family. So thank you so much for just being a stalwart of the community, and we just love what you do here.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
And they brought out some apps, right? Let me grab them really fast.
Fantastic.
Because that was supposed to be the pairing for Riverstone.
Yes, absolutely. So the Pairing for Riverstone is our local company. So we try to feature as many local people. We started off with, which you are one of them, even though you're big national, 23 years ago, that you were San Jose based in our minds. And this is La Villa Raviolis, which is a local Italian delicatessen here, and they sell their fresh raviolis and their cheese inside, ricotta cheese, and the pairing is with the Chardonnay.
How beautiful and how fantastic. Well, we talked earlier about being hyper local and what that means for J. Lohr and for Tomato Thyme, and we love being hyper local. We love being part of this community, but we also love being part of communities across the United States. So while we are even an internationally distributed brand, we like to think that because we have folks spread across the U.S., that we get to maintain our hyper local ties. And I feel really privileged to be part of your hyper local tie today.
Yeah, I still imagine you in my mind. I'm inspired by, J. Lohr, and also staying true to your roots and your family values and what you stand for and what you've done for the community on multiple levels, from touching lives to this now, certified, California certified.
Thank you.
Sustainability.
Thank you so much. Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, you're super inspiring. So
Well,
cheers to that.
Back at you. Thank you so much.
Well, this looks
Talk
delicious.
about inspiring. Did you get one?
Oh
My gosh,
well, I
this
have
looks
to
amazing.
a little bit of sauce.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what is the best-selling appetizer that you guys have?
This might be the
I was
best-selling
gonna say, this
appetizer.
looks way
I think
too
it's
good to
also,
put this focus on for you.
No, oh, thank you.
A favorite in the community are these raviolis, so we featured them. There were others along the way. We started off with a lot of local products. Some of those companies have closed or don't exist anymore, but La Villa and J. Lohr are still with us.
Mm.
Yeah, the La Villa raviolis, these fried raviolis sell a lot, along with, I would say our calamari is super popular, as well as our cheesy breadsticks. I'd say those three are probably the best sellers.
Yeah.
Well, I can attest to this pairing. This is absolutely delicious because I love the bite of the marinara sauce with the creaminess of the cheese and the acidity of the Chardonnay. It's really just easy and smooth and perfect pairing, and they balance one another out, just the flavors and the aromatics. It's really beautiful. So nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah, the acid is a nice little cut to it.
Yeah.
It all mends together really well. As you think about the menu and developing, How often are you guys tweaking and playing with dishes and things like that?
All the time.
Mhm.
Literally all the time.
And what's that process like?
Well, we have to eat and drink a lot.
Sometimes too much.
So there's a recent story that's pretty cool. Is we have some guests who returned from Alaska recently and said that he had a salmon BLT
Okay.
in Alaska,
Ooh.
and it was so good. Could we make him one?
Oh.
And so we did, and it's delicious. We put it on our specials menu for our lunch specials. So some of those things, it's tomatoes. I've grown tomatoes. So I've got like 100 tomato plants at home.
Oh.
And we'll harvest those in the summertime and have these heirloom tomato salads.
Mm.
And, they're just special. We have fresh figs. Like, I love fresh figs. You can make a dried fig pizza all day long, but the fresh figs are really special because they don't go in cold storage. They're just, when they're ripe, they're ripe. So we have this pizza that we made with prosciutto, arugula, some balsamic drizzle, and these fresh figs and gorgonzola, and it's amazing. So things like that we have fun with, especially with the seasons and especially where we live, and it's inspiring.
Are you Italian by chance, or do you have Italian in your heritage?
Was I talking with my hands?
I haven't heard you raise your voice yet. No.
Yes, I have Italian. I'm a lot of things, but one of them is Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
From which region?
Napoli.
Okay.
Naples.
My husband's from Calabria.
Okay.
So, and is some of your heritage inspiring your food choices and selections and pairings and ingredients?
I would have to say not especially, because I was mostly influenced by my mother, and she was not Italian. She's French and English and Irish. But actually she was really, really the first tofu organic lady in town. So we grew up mostly vegetarian and just really real food. We always had a garden. We had chickens. We had fresh fruit and things like that. So that really, I think that connection to food influenced me to use real ingredients and things like that. And my Italian grandmother, she wasn't much of a cook. Sorry.
So then are you both cooks at home when you are not at the restaurant?
Yeah, no, like to cook. My wife and I like to whip things up on my days off on Monday and Tuesday nights and try to be creative, not do the same old thing. But we do enjoy going out too.
Okay,
You know,
good. Do you know what I mean when I say the pantry challenge?
Absolutely.
Okay, the pantry challenge. We do that at my house. It's what do we have in the pantry that could possibly make the most delicious dish? And then sometimes we'll surprise guests and they won't even know that they're subject to the pantry challenge. So a little creativity,
Okay, I
a little
have to know-
spontaneity. Yes.
To me, I have to know, since it seems like you are a regular of the Pantry Challenge.
Yes, I am.
Give me an example of one of the most memorable pantry challenges you've had at the
Oh
home.
my goodness. All right, this is a good one. We were living in the Presidio, and it happened to be Blue Angels weekend.
Oh.
And we were trapped inside the Presidio because we were at the edge of the national park right near the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay.
And we happened to be having 6 additional guests over, but we could not get out through the side streets because we were socked in because of all of the visitation to come see the Blue Angels. So I had to whip together a dinner for 8 people with what I only had in the pantry. So I was able to make believe it or not, a fennel, tuna, and red onion salad.
Okay.
And I then made a bolognese sauce over bucatini that had the kitchen sink in it. And everything turned out beautifully. But that was an exceptional pantry challenge. Typically, they don't go that smoothly. But I'm just glad that I had fennel and tuna in the house. So
maybe your pantry is more well stocked than my pantry. I think we'll end up with Dino Nugget salad.
Exactly. Hey, that could have its own special, Share and Pair Sunday debut, right? How do you enjoy, food with the kids? How do you enjoy your Sunday night with the kids? Well, it sounds like in your household, it is going to be the Dino Nuggets and glass of Chardonnay, right?
I was just going to ask you, what are you going to pair with your Dino Nuggets?
I know. Well, I guess I would go Chardonnay, maybe even Pinot Noir.
Okay.
If you
Yeah,
wanted
I
a
would
little
go
bit of
for
extra
it.
fruit punch to it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite series to watch is This But Gourmet.
Oh.
So there's, I forget his name. He's one of the Iron Chefs, but he takes a common dish and will try and make it gourmet. And he'll do it with random fast food items or something like he'll deconstruct a Big Mac and then reconstruct it in some kind of fancy. Do you guys ever play like that too at home?
No.
You just make it gourmet.
No, I do the kitchen sink thing.
Yeah.
Or the
Pantry
challenge.
Challenge.
But the only issue is that if my family loves it, then I can never recreate it.
Oh.
Because you had
Yes.
what you had, and you might not
Right.
have some random fennel in your refrigerator. That kind of thing.
Right. That's the beauty and the curse of the pantry challenge. So I make all
Yeah.
these spontaneous, delicious meals, but then I don't photograph them or chart the ingredients, and then it's gone into the ether.
Yeah.
So yes.
It's creative and it's fun, but it's probably not, going to be a staple.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's why I will invite Josh the next time I just decide to do the pantry challenge.
Okay, I'm
I,
in.
can I tell a kind of a funny? Can I tell kind of a funny
Please.
story?
Yes,
So
please, of
it's
course.
opposite of the pantry challenge. So my grandmother, who I was telling you about earlier, who
Yes.
loved to come to J. Lohr when she visited from Arizona, she had like a photographic taste. We went out to the Shadowbrook and had their famous artichoke soup. The next day, she said, "We need to go to the store." She literally walked around Safeway with us, took everything, came home and cooked and recreated the artichoke soup from taste.
Oh.
So she was
That's
kind of the reverse
beautiful.
pantry challenge. It's like, you give me
Oh.
a food, I'll figure out how to make it.
Oh,
And
that's dynamic.
Yeah, really, really amazing.
I would like
That's
one of those in the
dynamic.
family.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
know.
Unfortunately, it did
know.
not rub off on me. She was also
Oh.
a pianist and an artist, so she had that kind of more creative flair that I am severely lacking.
Okay. Well, let's talk about how you translate your exceptional hospitality service, as you mentioned earlier, the flexing to meet the guest where they were at with the salmon BLT, and you're known to for perhaps a really solid devotee. You might pour a special extra large glass. What informs how you approach your wine list and your wine selections? What's your philosophy about choosing wines for your tight and focused wine list, both by the glass and by the bottle?
Well, I think the hospitality lends itself to giving people what they want and being hospitable. So if I was going to have, let's say, his grandmother over, I'd want to have her certain thing that she liked. So really, we're informed by our guests. It's not what we choose, it's what they choose. And there would be a revolt if I took some of the things off the wine list, or nope, I come every day, 3 days a week, whatever it is, and I want this certain thing, whether it's the J. Lohr. Well, what do you mean you don't have the J. Lohr cup? Well, that's what I drink. So it's really, they dictate it. We're not in charge.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love that. What a way to meet the needs of your guests and respect their wishes and desires.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the kind of the upside of that is trying to find new things that they might be interested in that aren't necessarily on our wine list. A different flavor, a different varietal, a different, but even a different pairing, which we suggest our pairings on our dinner specials menu. So it's just also trying to get people to get out of their comfort zone and try something new and exciting. Like, ooh, I've never had that before. And that's kind of a wow experience that we like to give.
Okay, so on the new, let me get the new plate that's over there.
Oh, yes.
And we'll also
there
do
we
a new
go.
wine, and then I have more new consumer questions too.
Fantastic.
Well, I think, with the guests really inform what we do.
Well, you can either indulge or
I know, I'm happy. I'm sorry to say goodbye. Wine, it can be serious for people, and then it cannot be serious. So when we have it by the glass, you can try it, you can have a taste. You can change your mind.
Trial is everything.
Yeah.
Trial and exposure is everything.
Yeah.
Which is why, and I was sharing with you earlier, that there's this incredible movement out right now called Share and Pair Sundays by the legendary wine maven Karen McNeil and a few others who recognized that in these interesting times, we need to spotlight wine's original role as a convener of friends and family, icebreaker, supporting meaningful conversations, and not shy away from wine, but bring it back into the everyday. And you're doing that beautifully with your pairings and on Sundays or whenever you choose to do it. And I agree completely, Todd. Bringing back the spirit of fun and experimentation with wine, as you perfectly said, getting people out of their comfort zones to try something new and different is one of the beauties of wine and wine trial. And we appreciate so much that you do that.
So what is
beautiful looking? Please go right ahead, Josh.
So you have to go first, Cynthia.
So this is, so we make all our dough. It's a sourdough that we make in house. So this is a pizza. This was inspired by my husband went to a Boston market. And as he was standing in line at this Boston market, he was, thinking about it all. And it was a ham and applesauce or something that they had.
Beautiful.
So he thought, well, what would that be like on a pizza?
Applesauce.
So he made a apple pizza. So it has mozzarella cheese, ham, and then slow cooked Jonathan apples with a little bit of sweetness, gorgonzola and bacon, a little hint of garlic. So this will stand up to this lovely smooth tannins in the Seven Oaks. So that was the inspiration for this pizza. And it's different because most people, or many often, it's like, wait, not just ham and pineapple. No, this is in ham and apple. So it's kind of like a pork chop and applesauce.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, so a kid can order a ham and pineapple, and the parents can have a ham and apple.
So I'm picking it up.
Oh, there's layers on the pizza. It like hits apple, then I get the ham, and then I finally get the cheese at the end.
What's really nice about the apple is that it's soft and not biting, and so it lets the saltiness of the ham take over.
Yeah.
But you still get that very kind of umami mouthfeel.
Yeah, that's fun. And the dough's nice.
Yeah.
I love the pizza crust. Beautiful. And it's a super nice pairing with the Seven Oaks.
Yeah. So the wine obviously is very food friendly, and it's why it's a great choice to pour by the glass too for our restaurant.
Yeah, it's a very versatile wine. You can go.
We think so too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Not to sound like a J. Lohr commercial.
Okay, but
it's true. It can go with a softer, more gentle food palette like a ham and an apple, but still stand up against like our blackened ribeye. It can go. It's across the board. It's a wonderful wine.
So everyone's always talking. I mean, regardless of the business, restaurant, wine industry, any consumer product, consumer preferences, and the changing of consumer preferences is something that you can't stop thinking about.
Right.
So on the restaurant side, over the last 20 years, how has consumer preferences changed? Kind of what are you doing more recently in terms of maybe acquiring new customers while also trying to maintain the loyal fan base that you have? Because that's something that we think about all the time too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a struggle in a way. So are you saying in regards to wine or food or general?
Just in general, with the restaurant as a business, it's...
Well, it evolves with the latest fad diet that it happens every couple of years. But it's true, like no carb. Well, we have pizza and pasta. So back in the Atkins days, we started introducing, because customers or guests would ask us, can you please make me something else? I can't eat pasta every day. So we started making some entrees with meat and chicken and things like that. So some steaks. And so that changed, and it changes along the way. And guest preferences as far as wine goes, I'd say, maybe of a certain age, they're a little more used to drinking wine. The younger guests might be into the lower alcohol these days, or the NA beers. We've been through the craft beer craze. There's just waves that come.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now there's a lot of the lower alcohol, things like that, or in cocktails. When we started, we were just beer and wine, and then we got a full liquor license. So now we've got all the cocktails and things like that. So We just ride the wave. If someone wants an espresso martini, absolutely. And we make a good one.
Oh,
I love how generous of spirit you are. This is why, again, this feels so lovely, because family-owned, hyper-local stalwarts in the community, we have the ability to meet consumers where they are. And that's really what we've been talking about in terms of what's important right now. And what is important right now is to connect with places and people that understand what's meaningful to you. And it sounds like you guys really work hard to, but it comes naturally, to understand what's important to your guests, how you can meet them where they're at, how you can deliver an exceptional experience, whether they've come here for the first time or they're coming again and again, the weekly folks, as you've mentioned.
Yeah. I think our purpose, our purpose here is really, you could say we're people pleasers, or you could just say that we're really hospitable, that we care about the people.
Yeah,
and it comes down to caring about them and their experience, because it's their time at Tomato Thyme. But it's respecting what they want,
Right.
and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
If they weren't here, I wouldn't be here. So it's like the basic of everything, and responding to that. And then different generations change, and the connection to, nowadays people want to know a little more about, what the cow's name was, or what where it's sourced from. But it is true, because I actually have a lovely bartender who, not now, but in the past, she grew up in a way that I grew up with a garden, for example, and I garden, and she didn't know that carrots grew in the ground. So, but making that connection, like where things come from.
Yes, absolutely. A little fun anecdote. My younger daughter actually is a carrot farmer and has farmed carrots in Vermont.
I love that.
I had no idea.
Just a short-term stint. But yes, so the stories that emerge from the farming community, particularly in Silicon Valley, in this area where we were once dominated by orchards, and carrying over that legacy and having people understand that once upon a time, we were all just, fields and orchards and blossoms, and carrying this forward is important, particularly in this community.
Yeah, it is where we come from. It's our roots, our legacy. Absolutely.
So then it sounds like, in terms of consumer preferences and changing, your team has been very adaptive, listening to the customers, making adjustments, trialing it out. Now, on the legacy side, you said that this is the local cheers for you, have a lot of reoccurring. You said that this table actually houses a poker group.
They don't play for money.
Yeah, they play normally I think it's like every Wednesday or every other Wednesday they play, I think they play spades. They play spades or poker.
They just have some
come
fun,
back
they
here,
eat,
and
they
there's
drink.
4 guys who come back here, and they actually leave their score sheet and their decks of cards up in a little binder, and we keep it up at the front so they don't have to bring it in every time. And they come back here and stay for a few hours and eat some food at lunch and have their game in their community. And now, actually, I don't know if you even know this, their wives actually come in separately to play the women's game.
On a different day?
On a different day.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. That's
And
fantastic.
and a couple times a week we have these 4 or 5 gentlemen who play tennis together, who come in, and we'll sit at our bar after their tennis game and have a beer and some appetizers and discuss their tennis game and trade stories. So we have a lot of that in this community. It's
Your
what makes
modern
this
day cheers.
Yeah. We actually even have our own version of Cliff who comes in and sits at the bar sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
So then how do you build that? Like, is there a secret? Is there a blueprint? What do you normally do if someone wants to build cheers today? What should they do?
Well, I think in the beginning it happened accidentally, because I was behind the bar. We had just opened, and I'm not a bartender, and I was busy, and someone hadn't shown up to work or something like that. They were late for their shift. So I was trying to run everything, and these people at the bar wanted to talk, because a lot of times the bartender will have time to chitty chat.
Yes.
And my method was, okay, hey, Joe, do you know Alex? Alex, this is Joe.
Mhm.
So they started talking together.
Mhm.
So they were sitting solo, and pretty soon this group, that was 23 years ago, and they're
Oh.
still friends.
Oh.
They still go out, they do everything together, a bunch of single guys. Anyway, so I would say just, the golden rule.
Yeah.
Treat others as you want to feel.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
what people are not
absolutely.
going to remember, I think it doesn't matter if what they eat or drink, essentially, it's how they feel.
Mhm.
They're going to remember how they were treated.
Mhm.
And that's ultimately how I would, the advice I would give.
Yes,
anyone.
yes. Beautiful. So your tenure speaks to the fact that you are both connectors. And when you approached me earlier today, knowing a little bit of my backstory, and we found those previous tethers that we have to the community, I can see you doing that 23 years ago. And quite frankly, Holly, I wish I had known you that many years ago when I rejoined the winery 24 years ago, because I would have been over here every night as my place to come to, the third place, if you will. So that just goes a very, very long way, that ability to connect people and forge those friendships. And I love that they're still enjoying one another's company today.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And, it's when you are a female or a solo person sitting at a bar, let's say you're going to stop on your way home, you want to feel comfortable.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I just want people to feel really comfortable and cared for and seen.
Yeah.
And I think that really goes a long way, because you're going to treat people how you would want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd has that in him too.
Oh, thanks. We have a, it's just, it's like everybody who comes in is kind of like family, right?
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in this restaurant away from our families.
Yeah.
And so the employees and the customers become kind of your pseudo family. And with the amount of regulars we have that come in, and we have a lot of solo diners that come in. And I think that's a testament to that they feel, like Holly said, they feel comfortable here and taken care of here and treated well here, and not like, oh, it's just one, right? It's actually like, welcome in, nice to see you again, right? And they'll pull up their laptops and do work, and they'll chat and make friends at the bar. And I mean, it's very, I think, going back to your question, Josh, was like, how would you create this? I don't think you can. I think it's all, it's organic, or, and to use a wine term, sustainable, only because it comes from the heart.
Yeah,
you have to have that intention in the beginning. You don't, it's not a formula. And that, there's, I don't know if there's data to back that up, because there's, maybe my husband's a little more data driven. He's also warm and friendly, but sometimes there's there's data and numbers. And if I was crunching numbers, maybe we wouldn't be where we are.
It really takes the left and the right brain.
Yeah.
And it also takes that instinct, which is why you have instinct, we have instinct. And that's why we feel so lucky to be seated with you here today, sharing stories and enjoying our wines. And speak about family and instinct. You were early embracers, not just of J. Lohr, but of the J. Lohr Touching Lives story. And the fact that you took it upon yourselves to hold a J. Lohr Touching Lives dinner in honor of the initiative that I created in 2009 as a way to honor my mother and her influence on our business and on our family. And the work that we do in J. Lohr Touching Lives and through the wine, the Carol's Vineyard wine, is significant. What about that spoke to you, and what did it mean for your guests to hold such a very deeply personal, resonant story for our Lohr family with your guests?
For me personally, I mean, just the name Touching Lives. I mean, we were in the business of touching lives. So at the table, it's all about families and people coming together, and we are part of people's lives. So, and everyone, I don't know the stats, I'm sure you do, but most people have been touched by cancer.
1 in 8 women in their families.
Yeah.
Or breast cancer specific.
Yeah.
So if it's not immediate family, it's,
Mhm.
I mean, personally, I know 4 people that have gone through it. And it's an awful,
Yeah. And
it's
it
an
happens-
awful disease. And
Yeah.
if there's any charity out there that can help people, like Touching Lives does, like deal better or have the resources or know that there's more people have their back, that goes into health and wellness and recovery.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I often look at the fact that had my mom known of the resources that now are so abundant out there, particularly through our partner, National Breast Cancer Foundation, how they, just like J. Lohr and you all, have been working to create community and foster community, both in terms of sharing education and best practices, but just really bringing people together. My mom's pathway would have been far different, and perhaps we would have had her for a bit longer. So for me personally, it's a deeply personal family story and a crusade that I know that I think I'm fourth generation only daughter of an only daughter, which is really significant. So for me, this is my way of carrying it forward. But truth be told, the J. Lohr Carroll's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon is also just a really delicious bottle of wine.
So we'll actually, Cynthia, before, you guys can pour this. And then, Cynthia, for those who are listening and may not be familiar with Touching Lives, what's the quick 30-second story on Touching Lives program?
Absolutely. So J. Lohr Touching Lives is a program that we constructed in 2009 as a way to honor my mother, Carol Waldorf Lohr, who passed from complications from breast cancer at I think, a very young age, approximately 71. And in our working through our grief, we wanted to find a way to not only commemorate the vineyard that my father named for her from our vineyards in St. Helena, but also to commemorate her legacy. And so back in 2009, it was $2 from every bottle of the Carol's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon and $1 from every bottle of the then Carol's Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc. We discontinued the Sauvignon Blanc a handful of years ago, but now we have increased the donation value of the Carol's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon to $3 per bottle. So fast forward now into our 16th year, we have donated more than $1 million in proceeds from sales of Carol's Vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon. But the even more beautiful thing is that it has become a rallying cry for distributors, for accounts, to hold their own fundraisers and activations to practically double our total amount from sales of the wine. So it has become something that as I travel the country and meet with various accounts and distributors, they're all involved in one fashion or another. And it has become a movement. And that movement is all about how early detection helps save lives and what we can all do together to support the women and families impacted by breast cancer. So, and I too have had a number of friends and family. And so we can't do enough to both advance research, but also to create that supportive community. So in that name, cheers. Thank you for your support for J. Lohr Touching Lives, and cheers to Carol. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful Cabernet, and we carry. So the J. Lohr, the Riverstone Chardonnay, and the Seven Oaks Cab, the Paso Cab, we carry by the glass or by the bottle. The J. Lohr, the Carol's, is only available by the bottle, and it's we've sold quite a bit of it. I think several cases, plus what we sold at the Touching Lives dinner that we held last year. So it's been very, very well received, and people like to do it as kind of like that splurge bottle, special occasion bottle of wine.
Sure. It's really delicious. I don't know how you would differentiate the Carol's Cab versus the Seven Oaks Cab in your own words, any of you, Josh included.
I mean, for me, this one is just it's everything you love about J. Lohr Cab, but more. Right? If most people know J. Lohr for this middle bottle here, Seven Oaks Cabernet, and it's fantastic. But then you think about what makes Napa great, what makes J. Lohr great, combine them all together, and you just get a little more fruit, a little more tannins, a little more of everything.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it is. If like the dial's right here and that's a good frequency, it's like, just The dial
Turn it
is
up a
turned
little.
up on
Mhm.
the deep dark fruits.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so delicious. And like you said, the tannins, it's still smooth and amazing. It's that extra.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And to be a little wine geeky, you can definitely tell that's a Napa cab and this is a Paso
Yeah.
cab. Different growing climates, different terroir.
Mhm.
You know, it's a different process for making the grapes, but they're both phenomenal.
Spot on, Todd. You can wine geek out on us anytime, quite frankly. So I'm going to put you on the spot. How would you describe J. Lohr's tannins now that you know a few of our Cabernets? How do you describe just the experience of our tannins in our cabs?
Me personally, I like what you've done with them. The tannins are there, so you know you get that good mouthfeel and that nice finish, but they're not overwhelming. They don't leave you with that dry cotton mouth. You know, they're not overly tannic. Very smooth, aged well in the different kinds of oak barrels, and they just and right out of the bottle, they drink nicely. They didn't need to breathe for 30 minutes or have to be, you know, decanted. They're just phenomenal.
Well, thank you. You're hired.
And I would say that regardless of whether this was a J. Lohr promotion, that's why we have them on our wine list, because they are that approachable and that good.
Well, thank you. In the words of our VP winemaking, Steve Peck, our house style is to have tannins that are soft and dense and really never green. And I think that you captured that perfectly. And that's what I love about our wines. What I love about our cab is that always drinkable. And for the solo diner, and I solo dine quite a bit because I'm out and about and travel the country. And I always want to feel welcome. And my welcome is always just a delicious glass of something red. And I don't want to have that cotton mouth that you were talking about. So having soft, approachable tannins to me is very, very meaningful and just makes the food and wine all the better.
Yeah, absolutely. If I have, why I usually start with a white, it just softens me up, I guess. And then when I have red wine, I have to have food with it. That's how my stomach works. So
I'm the opposite. That's so interesting.
what is this?
I am the opposite. When I'm drinking a white wine, I have to have food with it, probably because of the natural acidity. And red wines for me are that end of the day indulgence where I can have food or not have food. And sometimes I will even revert. I will start with a red and go back to a white, which is a cardinal sin.
There's no rules anymore.
Yeah,
I know,
Red wine with fish, right?
Right, exactly.
I don't like rules.
But I love your thinking. But I just had to counter because
Yeah.
what you shared with
Yeah.
me was very interesting since I approach things, you know, with red as my food or no food, I'm going to have a glass of red wine, but white wine, I feel like I have to have food.
I have to have like a cracker, anything. I just have to have food with any red wine.
More Lavilla raviolis, perhaps.
Okay, so we're talking about, and we're getting towards the end of the show here. Let's talk about the Share and Pair Sundays.
Yes.
I have a game for you all.
Oh my
And
gosh, I love games.
I think I explained the game to you, but I haven't explained it to Cynthia. I don't know if we've actually played this on an episode yet.
Oh my gosh, I
Um,
love games.
But this is a blind ranking game.
Ooh, okay.
So again, 1 being the best. So that's your number 1 choice. 5 being your least favorite of that option. Caveat is you're not going to know what I'm going to ask you to rank next.
Okay, great.
So I will tell you a pairing with wine. We'll go food and wine off your menu, one of our wines, and then you have to slot them in.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Try me.
Obviously, I know all the options, so I'm not going to play. So I'm going to go for y'all first. But our first one is going to be a olive and portobello pizza
Ooh.
paired with our J. Lohr Estates Southridge Syrah. So olive, portobello pizza, and Syrah. Where are we going? What number would you give that? Cynthia, you have a
From a
1 to 5. 1 being
1
this
to
is like
5.
my ideal pair. You don't know what's coming next though.
And
okay.
you only get to rate each one. You only get to use each number once.
There's no going back. Once you pick your number.
Okay.
It's tough.
Okay, well, without going into too much detail, I would give that a solid 3.
Okay. Safe choice.
Well,
Right in the
only
middle?
because as you were describing the pizza, I already had a wine in mind.
Okay.
See, now I was also thinking 3, safe choice for the first one, but I'm a huge Syrah fan. So I'm going to go 2.
Okay. But saving number 1.
Well, the pizza has a real salty factor to it because it has all this feta,
Okay.
and I haven't had that exact wine. So it's between a 2 and a 3.
Okay.
I'm going to go 3.
Okay. All right. So somewhat safe choices. You edge a little bit higher just because you like Syrah in general. So amazing. All right. The second pairing option is going to be the caramel apple bread pudding.
Mm-hmm.
And then our J. Lohr late harvest wine Riesling,
Oh.
which this is off dry, so has a little bit of sweetness to it. But if we're going dessert round,
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Well, since I didn't use my number 1, that's a clear number. 1's the highest, right?
one's the highest.
That's a clear number 1.
Oh, you're going dessert is number 1. Is that your favorite meal?
Oh, favorite meal.
No,
Or
no,
favorite pairing.
well, you went
Favorite
straight to
pairing.
number 1. Yeah, favorite pairing. But you're going number 1
Okay,
right
I'll
away.
pick number 2
Okay.
because that's so solid and spot on and delicious. And late harvest is a bespoke jewel of a limited release offering that is very, very special with such a dessert like that. So I'll give it a 2 for sure.
I'm going 2.
You going 2?
Absolutely.
Are you a big dessert and like a more sweet, medium sweet?
I'm
wine
not a
pairing?
big dessert person, but I love that caramel apple bread
Yeah,
pudding.
yeah. I love bread pudding. My mom loved bread pudding.
It's really, really good. We make it in house, and
Okay.
it's got this
Do we
caramel and apple, and with the bread.
Do we say what the secret bread is?
We have a
Oh.
secret recipe.
Oh my
Secret
goodness.
recipe.
I'll have to know what that is now.
So, but and then
I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna come dine and
Oh,
find
it's
out.
so
delicious.
late harvest. I mean, just sold. But I'm holding out for chocolate, so I'm gonna go 2.
Okay, fair enough.
And I use my 2. I'll go 3.
All right.
I'm a big dessert person too, and that caramel apple bread pudding is delicious.
So all 2 and 3s are off the table. You guys are spot on with each other in terms of palates right now, it looks like. All right, third blind pairing is going to be you have an open face crab sandwich paired with our J. Lohr Estates Riverstone Chardonnay. Any takers on numbers first?
Well, I'm gonna. So I have my 2 and 3 already taken.
But
So-
everyone has 2 and 3 taken,
Okay,
actually.
so I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. Why is that?
Because it's a perfect pairing.
Okay.
I mean,
It
just
is. It's
done. It's
delicious
like
together.
super creamy, and I mean, this crab, and it's toasty, and with the Chardonnay, just not too oaky, but just it lends itself to that indulgent sandwich without overpowering it or making it too heavy and cloying.
Todd?
It is a great pairing, but I'm gonna have to go 5.
Okay.
Just because
Saving it
I'm
for-
just. I mean, I like my seafood, but that's just that's occasional. It is a rich, flavorful dish.
Yeah.
But I think I would probably go 5 on that.
Okay. We all have preferences?
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well
Okay.
because I love open faced crab sandwiches. I love Chardonnay, but there are probably some things that I adore even more so. So to me, that's very solid.
Okay.
But I can't wait to come back for lunch.
You guys are exactly the same. So we're on 3 for 3. Todd's got a 4 option,
I
but
got a 4 and we all got 1s.
I only have
yeah.
a 5 and a 1.
I know.
Which means which
Yeah,
one should I give you
exactly.
next
That's
as a
tough.
bait to
That's
make it
tough.
fun?
I know.
I know.
All right, we'll do this one. So you guys have an angel hair pasta with prawns and a white wine sauce, paired with our J. Lohr Estates Falcon's Perch Pinot Noir.
Ooh.
So we got angel hair pasta, prawns white sauce though, but I'm saying Monterey Arroyo Seco Pinot Noir.
I got my 4 left.
I'm gonna
put
go-
that. I'm gonna put my 4 there.
Okay.
Okay. Why would you put your 4 there, sir?
Just because I'm holding out that he's got some red meat and a cabernet. I'm holding out he's got red meat and a cabernet left.
Listen, it's gonna be just a house salad and and you could have got crab cakes as number 1.
No, I mean no personal preference. Just putting the seafood down the list a little bit. That's all.
Okay. Cynthia or Holly?
I'm gonna use my 5
Okay.
because I love angel hair and I love Falcon's Perch, but I would always enjoy that. But it's not gonna rivet me as much as my number 1 holdout.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 as well because I'm holding my number 1 spot for either steak or chocolate. So I'm
Okay.
gonna have to go 5.
I was hoping that someone was going to use their one sooner, but I guess I should have reordered these.
We have a cautious group here.
I know. Okay, so this next pairing then
Is
would be Surf and Turf
there we
with
go.
then our J. Lohr Carol's Vineyard Cabernet,
Yeah.
which you guys all have one left, so we're ones across the board.
We're all
One,
one.
You held out
Yay.
correctly.
Heck
I should have
yeah.
done house salad.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that sounds
was fun.
delicious.
That was fun.
Oh my goodness.
Now all I need is the chef to bring us the surf and turf.
Same way. That's episode 2, I guess.
Mm.
All right, so as we round out the podcast, again, thank you all for playing, for joining with us today. What's next? You guys obviously have another. You want to mention the other restaurant that's down the way?
Yeah, so we have another restaurant. It's called Dry Creek Grill. And we've been open there since 2012. And we actually pour J. Lohr on tap there. We have 8 whites and 8 reds at that location. It's a bigger restaurant. It's got prime steaks, that kind of thing. We're
Mhm.
open for dinner only there. And then we have the restaurant's about 7,000 square feet, so it's a bigger restaurant. And then the second level, we have a upstairs that we're building a venue that will be open later on the end of this year. So it's going to be a beautiful venue for private events, and that's what I have to say about that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I love event venues. Oh my goodness. We'll be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And is there anywhere that you would like to send any of the audience today? Where can they find more about either of the restaurants, websites, social media,
Yeah,
etc.?
we have websites. Tomato Thyme is tomato, Tomato. There's no E. Hyphen Thyme, THYME.com. And then Dry Creek Grill is just all one word, drycreekgrill.com.
Perfect. And I'll leave that, obviously, I'll link down in the description so you can just click the button, make it easy for you all.
And there's she does a great job with the Instagram too. So whenever we
I
cook up new
noticed.
specials and we send,
Mhm.
she'll come in and take pictures, or I'll take pictures and we'll post them online.
Yeah,
Mhm.
follow us to see what's
Yeah.
happening. This
Yeah.
weekend's Mother's Day.
Mother's
so
Day.
all the
Happy
things.
Mother's Day, by the way.
This will
Thank
probably
you.
come out after Mother's Day, but
Okay.
yeah, we just
I'm
like
fast,
to-
not that fast.
Oh, come on, Josh. No, and just like the thing is, we like to have fun too
Yeah.
while we work, and so we embrace the holidays, right? We did some St. Patrick's food, some Irish food. We did
Oh.
some Cinco de Mayo Mexican food with margaritas, and we just enjoy the holidays and we have fun with it, right?
Well,
We have our standard traditional, not really changing menu that everybody likes, but we always have lunch specials and dinner specials and seasonal specials and holiday specials, and that's what makes it fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, a lot of people think we're an Italian restaurant because we have pasta and pizza, but honestly, we're a California restaurant with no rules.
Yeah.
So we might have some base, but I don't like rules. I mean, they're called guidelines.
Yes.
So we have
Yes.
our core menu, and then it's not really traditional. We don't have like Italian written on the menu and that sort of thing. It's really celebrating California and where we at, our terroir.
I love it. And as we bring back and we talk about Share in Paris Sundays, Cynthia, how does going out, exploring new pairings, exploring new restaurants all play into this?
It gives me tremendous inspiration to go back and not only create my own pairings at home inspired by what you have shared with us today, but also to bring friends and family out on a Sunday, regardless of whether we're in the Share in Paris Sundays window, which ends at the end of May. But to me, Sundays are all about gatherings and bringing friends and family together for a good meal, the Sunday supper, if you will. And if I had any, warming, welcoming place to recommend, it would be Tomato Thyme for my Sunday meal, for my Sunday Share in Paris Sundays. So I can't wait to come back. Can't wait to bring my family here.
We can't wait to have you.
Can't wait
Thank
to have
you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
I
much.
love it.
It's been
And-
fun.
Obviously, wherever you're watching or listening to this too, just go check out your local restaurants, have some fun, get to know the people there. And if you are in San Jose or in Paso or actually anywhere across the country and you want to see what we're doing, where our team's at, we do have a website. So if you'd like to see any of our winemaker dinners, you can go to jlohr.com/events. And then you can follow us on social, which will all be linked down below. But thank you so much for joining us both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Todd, Holly,
Thank you,
Josh,
Cynthia and Josh.
and to our
Yeah.
audience. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.